All right, today we're talking about nurturing leads from cold email, which essentially means taking an interested response and turning it into a booked discovery call in your calendar so that you can run them through your sales process and close the deal. If you're doing any kind of outreach or lead generation on via cold email, LinkedIn, even Twitter or anything, you need to know how to nurture an interested lead so that you can turn that into a discovery call. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and or your money. And I've seen a lot of people blow this, and a lot of the videos on the channel are about cold email in general. So I thought it would be cool to show you how to take the lead into and turn them into a prospect once you do get a successful or an interested response. By the way, I'm with Experiment 27, and we have generated over 100 million for our clients using cold email, LinkedIn, and other methods as well. So I think I'm pretty qualified to talk about this, and I want to show you how I've managed to book dozens and dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of calls actually. Definitely hundreds of calls at this point using cold email. So let's talk about what a lead is in the first place. So a lead is a positive response from someone in your target audience when they're interested to talk to you on the phone, or they want to learn more, or they ask you for a case study, or they ask you about a certain question, or they tell you to reach out again in a certain amount of time. Any kind of positive reply is a lead, okay? There's no such thing as good leads and bad leads or this or that. A lead is a lead, full stop. When the person's in your target market, they're a decision maker at a company in your target audience that is of the size that can afford to pay you the rate you want, they're in the industry that you want, they're in the geographic location that you want, and the person is a decision maker at that company, and they reply to you, they're showing interest in what you're saying, and it's up to you as a salesperson to nurture that lead, just like it is up to you when someone submits a contact form on your website to respond, nurture the lead, and get them on the phone. So that's the goal, getting them on the phone. You have to book the discovery call. If you don't book the discovery call, then how are you going to close them if you're not on the phone with them, right? So book that discovery call. And here are some common mistakes that people make when they're trying to nurture leads. They will send a massive email, a blog post worth of text about their company. Like they'll ask you, more about the company, and you send them like 1,000 words in an email. Even 100, 200 words is probably too much. You really don't want to say too much in the email. They should be short, direct, and to the point. So do not send someone a massive wall of text, because they are not going to respond. Even if they ask for it, you want to give them a good response to get them on the phone. That also means you shouldn't be sending a bunch of like giant case study docs with like 10 pages each, or a pitch deck, or something like that, because if they ask you for a proposal or a pitch deck and you send it over to them and it's like 30 pages long, they're not going to look through it. They're going to look at like 1 page or 2 pages. They're going to skip all the way down to the bottom, look at price, and they're not going to want to buy. And I wouldn't even send, by the way, this is true for any time in the sales process. When a prospect asks you to send them a proposal or to send them like an agreement, and you haven't had the chance to present it to them, I would pretty much never do that. Like, you always want to have them on the phone and show them the plan step by step and walk them through what you're offering live, so that they can, number one, fully understand the value. Number two, if they have any questions along the way, they can actually ask you, or any objections, you can overcome them before you get to the end with price. Otherwise, what typically happens, and we've found this over and over again when we send proposals, when we used to test this, we had a software that would track open rates and that kind of thing. When you send someone a proposal via email, they'll open the proposal, look at the cover of the proposal, and then scroll all the way down to the price immediately and just look at the price, and they're not going to see the value, they're not going to buy. So don't send them a pitch deck or anything like that, whether you're nurturing a lead or even if they've become a prospect and you've talked to them before. I wouldn't do it. I would always get them on the phone. You also don't want to wait days to respond. When someone replies to you, they're interested right now, and the odds of you converting them, the longer time goes on between the response and you getting to them, goes down significantly. So you want to be sure that you're on these leads as soon as possible, no more than a day, ideally a few hours, and a perfect world would be within 5 minutes, but you kind of have to, a few hours is okay, but you don't want to go more than like a few days, otherwise you're going to probably lose them. You also don't want to be aggressive, like following up too much, because if you follow up like every 10 seconds, it's like when you're going to annoy them, right? You can't respond to them too much, but you also need to follow up, right? So don't follow up too much, and don't forget to follow up entirely. Both of those things will screw you over. So now I want to show you some examples. So let me move myself over here. So I've blocked out these people's names and signatures and companies from my screenshots for their privacy, but I did want to show you how I nurtured these leads in different scenarios and how I turned them into a meeting. So she said, hi, Jacob, and she's actually potentially could become a customer soon. She said, hey, Jacob, she told me she'd love to learn more about the company, and she sent me over times to speak. And we coordinated a time, and I sent her an invite. So this is the most straightforward way. When someone responds back with immediate interest to book a call, this is an ideal kind of response because it's just super easy. It's a slam dunk. All you have to do is send over some times and coordinate a time to talk. You can use Calendly. You can send over a few times. They might give you a time. It's just pretty much coordinating at that point a time to speak, and then sending them the calendar invitation. Always send the calendar invitation with the meeting link. But yeah, this is how you would handle the situation. Quite simple, straightforward, pretty awesome. Next, this is another kind of response you could get. They might say, we're not ready right now because we're still hiring a marketing director, but we will be in a month, or it could be a quarter, or it could be a year even. Ideally, it's a few days or weeks or months. It's usually the case. But when they say they're interested at a certain time, they've now become a lead. They're telling you that we will be interested in what you have in this amount of time. So when this happens, the person is being honest with you, they're being transparent, and you can still build a strong relationship with them until they're ready to buy, right? So you could, even if they say we're not ready to buy for another month, you could say, well, it would be good. It would be awesome to introduce ourselves now, just so we can get that out of the way and start working towards something, in the future. And if that's the case, like if your sales process takes 2 months and they're going to tell you that they want to start in 2 months, then you should start the conversation now so that you can actually start the project in 2 months or however long that takes. So just know your sales process in your head and kind of figure out what's in their best interest. When should we start talking? But this is, when they tell you they're going to be ready at a certain time, they're being transparent, they're showing interest, and it's your job to nurture that lead. So enter them in your CRM, reply back to them, seeing if they want to get on a call now, or you could always follow up with them at a later time as well. And you should always follow up until you get them on the phone or they tell you no. So put them in your CRM and nurture the lead. Here is another example of that, actually. So this lady said, hey, we're fully booked right now, but I want to learn how you can bring magic. And she told me to reach out to her again. And I said, okay. And then the third week in December, I responded back. And she said, hey, once again, let's reconnect after the middle of January. So I followed up with her. I think I coordinated a time with her the third week in January, and we had a discovery call. And that's another example of how you can handle this. So if I had just ignored this as a lead and I said, oh, she's not a lead, and I never responded back, I would have never had that call. But I said, okay, I put her in my CRM, I followed up with her when she told me to, and I booked the meeting. Here's another example. We'd like to learn more, very vague, but they are interested in hearing what you have to offer. And in this case, what I'd like to do is do a bit of research on them and sort of on their company, a bit more research than you already have, on their company, on their website, their LinkedIn, and construct a response that is, again, personalized, a very short intro, and maybe even another one-sentence case study. We talk about case studies all the time. So if you're reaching out to a manufacturing company and you're offering them software, and they want you to learn more, you could say, hey, John, that's amazing. By the way, awesome work that you did with this company. We do custom software for companies like yours. For example, we helped another manufacturing company or something with this app that helped them solve this problem. If you have any issues with efficiency or you want to increase operational, if you want to eliminate operational waste, would you want to hop on a call, next week to discuss? You don't really want to put it in terms of, do you want an app? If you're selling an app, or do you want, it depends on what you sell. Do you want a new logo, or do you want this or that? You want to put it in terms of the value that they're going to get. So if you pitch a head of operations from a manufacturing plant a new mobile app or a new custom software tool, they'll probably say, no, we don't want it. But if you pitch them, we can help you decrease operation costs, that's what they will want. And so you have to think about what would they actually want, and think about the problem you solve for someone just like them or as similar to them as possible, and mention that in your email. And this is in a few sentences, like 1 to 3 sentences max, and then ask them for a meeting. That's how you would do it. So in this case, this guy said, he didn't really say exactly I want to learn more, but he asked me how we kind of work. So we had some back and forth via email, and this guy actually ended up not being a good fit. he was a little bit odd, and he was kind of being weird in the emails. So I wouldn't consider him a good person to work with anyway. But I did get to the point where he was about to book a call before we realized that it wasn't the fit to work together. So if someone asks you for more meetings, you can kind of like reply back with more information, a case study, and again, a call to action. And here's another example of that. So this guy asked me for more information about the structure of our services and how we structure our fees. And he said if they align, we can schedule a call. So I told him how we, in a few sentences here, how we charge based on the number of leads. And then I started talking about the problem. So he is a software company, and I know that like every software company relies on referrals and word of mouth or inbound marketing. And they all don't like it because referrals are not predictable, and the projects that they get are too small. So I mentioned that in my email, and then I asked him to book a call again, right? I was trying to speak to his pain points. I said, I answered his question about how we charge based on the number of leads. I did not give a price, though. You don't really want to give a price via email. Because you don't want to give a price until you've established value. So I rarely ever will give a price in an email. I might give a range, like a super big range of price, like 5,000 to like $250,000. You really don't want to give a price though via email. You want to wait until you actually understand their situation. But in this case here, I talked about how his pain points. So most of our clients rely on referrals and word of mouth to grow or inbound marketing. And the problem is that it's a lot of luck. Clients fall out of the sky. There's no control over deal size, etc. And I said that we help fill the pipeline with pre-qualified leads that are interested and larger companies that can afford to pay you more. So I just talked about the problem solution, and then I asked him if he's interested with a call, and he booked a time. So that's another example. This guy, once again, was asking me for a deck. So here's an example of a guy asking me for a deck. He said, I want to see a capabilities deck, engagement options and costs, and case studies. And he said if there's a fit, we can meet. So I mentioned Dom and Tom, one of our clients, how we boosted revenue by 16% in a year. I mentioned a few other agencies like his. I talked about how we sell leads, not likes, and I gave him a very wide price range. As you can see, he wanted cost. So I gave him 24 to $250,000. That's a massive range. So he wouldn't really know what it is in that range that it would be. Told him about our services very quickly, another case study, and I sent him another call to action here. And he got back to me and said, I actually had to follow up with him. I think a few weeks later, or maybe a few days later, I had to send him a follow-up message. And he sent me that he'd be open to call in a few months, because this is around Christmas time. So I set up a call with him in February, and I actually had that call, and we have another call coming up next week. So that is how you nurture a lead in that situation. And then here's one more situation that you could potentially be in that's most common. The person says, hey, I've moved on from the company, but you can contact this person, right? So this can usually happen because they have like an old title on LinkedIn at an old company. They haven't updated it yet. So when you reach out, they tell you, oh, I don't work here anymore, but this person does, right? So if that's the case, you can research them a bit more and the person they tell you to, and see if the person's a target. So if they say, hey, I don't work here anymore, contact John. If you reach out, if you look up John and look at his LinkedIn and say, okay, thanks. If John looks like the right person to reach out to based on their title, then you can say you reach out to them. And if not, then you can thank them for referring someone to you and ask for their email. Either way, you want to reach out to that person. So once you get that reference, although it's not ideal because, well, actually it can sometimes be ideal. Here's why. When you reach out to this new person saying, hey, John, I reached out to Joe and he told me that you were the right person to talk to about this, or that you may be interested in this, right? And then you go into your pitch again. Now you have an in. It's almost like a referral in a way, right? You were referred to them by their peer. So that makes them trust you more. And it actually makes it easier to book a call. I can usually book, when I reach out to someone like this, that I was referred to from somebody else, it's no longer a cold email, it's a warm email. And I can usually book a call half the time, actually. So these emails are actually not that bad, as long as you follow through. So when they tell you to reach out to somebody else, thank them for their time and thank them for the reference. And then the framework of reaching out to the next person is like, hey, John, reached out to Joe about XYZ. He told me that you were the right person to get in touch with. Give them the case study again. So when you cold email somebody, always use a case study or always use some sort of value proposition, and then give it to them again. So, hey, John, Joe told me you're the right person to reach out to about this. I just helped another manufacturing company decrease operation costs by 25% with a new custom software. If decreasing operational overhead is a priority for you right now, or if it's of interest to you right now, would you be around next week to talk, right? And then bam, you book the meeting. So these are all ways you can nurture leads. The whole point is you want to be short, sweet, to the point, always nurturing the lead, always following up, always providing value and answering questions. You're not sending too many emails at once. You're not forgetting to follow up. You're not sending over giant pitch decks or super long emails. You're just always being short, direct, providing value, and asking for an introductory meeting. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you want to learn how to generate leads on autopilot, if you want to book yourself solid and have a VA that can generate leads for you and do it for you in a very cheap and straightforward manner, I have a training document that you can grab in the description down below. Just click the link and you can get the free training. It's like a bunch of really short videos that are like 5 minutes a piece that show them step by step what to do exactly. And if you're still struggling with your cold emails, if you are trying to book meetings but it's not working out, or maybe you're getting on sales calls that aren't really working out, you can book a coaching call with me. It's $100 and you get an hour of my time. So it's between 2 different calls. So we'll have one call in the beginning of the month and one call at the end of the month. And that way we can look at the situation. I can give you some input and some guidance. And then a month later, you can come back to me with what happened and we can look at the results and then tweak from there. So hope you got some value from this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.